Okay, things are looking good here. Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing the Pokémon Sapphire Nuzlocke. Last time we started our adventure and managed to make our way over to Petalburg City here in the Hoenn region, and we are going to be making our way over to Rustboro City today. Yeah, I was very excited about starting this session because we already got a lot done in the first segment of this Nuzlocke run, and I'm just really excited to be continuing this one here. But yeah, we'll be heading off to Rustboro and maybe getting to see what's going to be happening in our first gym battle. But before we do, I want to quickly show how the team is looking at the moment. So, since last time, I took the liberty of training up everybody on the team to at least level 9, so that we be prepared for what we're going to be facing on this part of our journey here. And it's probably going to be a good idea to put Velvet in the lead of the party, just because there is something coming up that I really want to get for her. And it'd be very nice just to try and get that as quickly as we can. It definitely didn't take us too long to train up everybody. And you may have noticed that a lot of the different members of our team have different requirements for getting experience at their current levels. Like Liam only needs 141 at this point, while Carl needs 322. Yeah, some Pokemon have different rates for how they grow. So, for instance, the starter Pokemon grow at a more faster rate than other Pokemon, as rarer ones tend to require more effort in order to raise up. But yep, the next leg of our journey is going to be taking us through Petalburg Woods, where we caught our last teammate, Carl. This area is honestly not too bad to go through. It's quite similar to Viridian Forest back in the Generation 1 games, only this one really isn't that much of a labyrinth. It's honestly a pretty straight shot to the exit if you know where you're going. Yeah, we got ourselves a lot of battles to go through here, and our girl Velvet is definitely going to see a lot of use, as we need to get you trained up for what's coming up.
I'll try to do my best.
Yeah, I'm definitely quite excited to see her grow, even though it's definitely a Pokemon I feel is a lot better if you're playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, due to the way that a Pokemon's moves and typing is affected in those games compared to how they are in Gen 3. As you can see here, this guy has an entire team of Pokemon, and you can probably guess what they're all going to be, so yeah, it's gonna take a while knocking all of these worms out. Velvet should be able to weather anything these things can do to us. So, while we're just letting Velvet do her thing, what is some stuff that we can talk about? Well, I can say that I've had a pretty nice day off today. Definitely taken some time to relax, and earlier I endured the freezing cold winds of my town in order to go get some breakfast food at a place I like to visit, and it was definitely very yummy as usual. I got myself an Eggs Benedict with pea meal bacon, and oh man, it was so flippin' good. It's like one of my favorite things to get there, so yeah, it was definitely a nice little lunch I had. And I'm definitely feeling pretty good right now. Also earlier, I hopped into Genshin Impact just to deal with some of my daily tasks that I have available, and definitely trying to level up some more of my characters right now, because I almost got Shilonen and Eonson to about where all my other characters are. So it'll probably be a few more days, and then we should be ready to train up the rest of the party, and very soon I would definitely like to... What I would like to do very soon is to get my world level up so that we'll be able to get better rewards from enemies. I have all these Pokemon, but I couldn't win! Yeah, sucks to be you, kid. So I'll be taking care of that. Let's feed Velvet a potion to get you healed up. Also want to show that in between streams, we did pick up a couple more super potions from Mickey's pickup. So he's been quite useful for getting us some nice items. Yes, and I'll be getting you even better items for the right fee. Okay, simmer down, buddy. Alright, so now we've taken care of that guy. We can grab a paralyzed heal over here. So those, of course, are status healing items that will heal a Pokemon from being paralyzed, which is a status that we have not seen yet, though there is a Pokemon in this area that should be able to inflict that status, if we're able to actually get it to appear. It's actually a Pokemon I would have liked to catch for the team, even if it would provide some type redundancy with our starter. So we're just gonna not worry about that for now. And we got ourselves a Zigzagoon. And considering where we currently are at, that should be able to give us the final push we need for Velvet, which I'm going to be very excited for. If we can manage to poison you, this will make this fight so much easier. Come on, Velvet, you can do this. Alright, you missed your attack there. Woo, critical hit. And we're still not getting the poison here. Alright, managed to get the Toxic on the very last possible turn we could have gotten it. Bam. There we go.
I'm sorry I didn't do so good there.
It's okay, Velvet, because now it's time for you to evolve.
What's happening? I feel so full of energy. Oh my goodness, I've gotten so big!
So Velvet is now evolved into Beautifly. This is basically the Hoenn counterpart to Butterfree, and it's quite a design of a Pokemon I really like. I like the appearance of swallowtail butterflies, so it's definitely a very cute design. And she is learning Absorb. All of your options here... I'm actually going to get rid of Tackle, believe it or not. This could be very nice for being able to deal with enemies while also recovering some HP there. So with that, Velvet is now the first member of our team to finally reach her final stage, as she is now a fully grown Pokemon, so we won't be able to see her evolve again. And she's got Swarm, which we're honestly not going to be able to see much use of. So yeah, between the different evolutions that Wurmple can get, Beautifly is the more offensive one, while its other form, Dustox, is more of a defensive Pokemon. So Velvet's definitely going to be quite useful in this form to us for a little while. There's going to be some things coming up that are not going to be too great for her to deal with, but for now she's looking pretty good. Honestly, we don't need to use a potion on you at the moment. So we're going to be leading with Liam for the next couple of battles, as I definitely want to increase his levels going forward for something that will be coming up later in possibly this session. Not a one to be found. Hello, have you seen a Pokemon called Shroomish around here? I really love that Pokemon. No, sir, I'm afraid we haven't seen one. I was gonna ambush you, but you had to dawdle in Petalburg Woods forever, didn't you? I got sick of waiting, so here I am. You, Devon researcher, hand over those papers. Ah! You're a Pokemon trainer, aren't you? You've gotta help me, please! Huh? What do you think you're doing? What, you're gonna protect him? No one who crosses Team Aqua gets any mercy, not even a kid. Come on and battle me! So we got ourselves an antagonist that we gotta deal with here. A Team Aqua Grunt. For those of you familiar with the Generation 1 games, this is basically our counterpart to Team Rocket. So we're definitely going to be seeing quite a few of these guys in the future. Liam is definitely going to be pretty good against his main Pokemon here. Of course, if you're playing Ruby or Omega Ruby, instead of a Team Aqua Grunt, you would be facing a Team Magma Grunt, which are kind of similar to the Aqua Grunts here. So, whichever version of the game you're playing, you'll always encounter a level 9 Poochyena on this guy's team. But we will eventually get to see some of the differences between the different team members going forward. For now, Liam just easily took out that Poochyena. It's what I do. You're kidding me! You're tough! You've got some nerve meddling with Team Aqua. Come on and battle me again! I wish I could say that, but I'm out of Pokemon. And hey, we have Team Aqua also after something in Rustboro. I'll let you go today. Whew, that was awfully close. Thanks to you, he didn't rob me of these important papers. I know, I'll give you a Great Ball as my thanks. So the Great Ball we just received there is a Pokeball that has a 1.5 times effective rate compared to the regular Pokeball. Didn't that Team Aquafug say they were after something in Rustboro too? Uh-oh, it's a crisis! I can't be wasting time! And there he goes. Yeah, this ain't the last we're gonna see of a Team Aqua here. We're going to be encountering these guys all over this game. Yo there, your Pokemon doing okay? If your Pokemon are weak and you want to avoid battles, you should stay out of tall grass. Definitely good advice. If you want to avoid battles, try to trek through as little grass as possible around here. If you take bug Pokemon to school, you get to be instantly popular. This kid here always reminds me of a little thing from my past, which I believe I did mention back in my Emerald streams. So, as a kid for a little while, I actually had a pet praying mantis, and I believe I did take it to school one day just to show my other classmates. And yeah, it was quite nice getting to show her off. I really do like a lot of insects, and sadly, they do have such very short lives, because I really like those guys. Alright, gotta level up on Liam. And Gladys was easily able to take out that Nincada. I can't be popular if I lose! I didn't have a chance to mention it, but Nincada is a bug ground type Pokemon. One of the few Pokemon with that type combination, and honestly, it's not amazing. At least for a while. Ooh, we got a full restore from Mickey. So this is an item we saw in the last session that was able to fully replenish the HP of our target. So yeah, this is very good. Probably not going to use this until way later on in the adventure, but you know, it's definitely something we'll want to hold plenty of. And over here we got some trees that are blocking our path. Nothing we can do about them for the time being. I like filling my mouth with seeds and spitting them out fast. You can have this so you try it out. Use it on Pokemon to learn a move for firing seeds rapidly. So by talking to this fellow, we get ourselves a TM. Word of advice, a TM, technical machine, is good only for one-time use. Once you use it, it's gone. Think twice before using it. Yeah, sadly, this is one of the generations where TM moves are only one-time use. But, you know, we still get ourselves a very good find here. So, this current TM gives us Bullet Seed, which is definitely a move we want to give to Liam, as that's going to be a very nice attack for him. So the way Bullet Seed works is this is a multi-hit attack. So we'll strike 2 to 5 times in succession, and can definitely be very nice if you manage to pull off getting the big damage rolls with it. However, it has very low power, so yeah, it's probably not the most reliable move that we have at our disposal, but it could see some good use. Just have to be very careful with when and how we use it. And, of course, we can pick up some berries over here. I do want to note that this is not a new route, even though we just left the forest. This is still technically counts as Route 104, so we do not have a new opportunity to catch a Pokemon here. Not like there's really anything else we should be able to catch here. So for now, let's just take care of some of our opponents we got. Yeah, like I said before, we're going to be leading with Liam for a bit, as I definitely want to prioritize him getting levels above all of our other teammates. And for now, we can head into the back of this grassy area behind that building, and we can grab quite a few items over here. There's a ton of things you can find in these little bare patches, which is always very good to check as much as you can. Alright, so how about for this next battle we get to show off our new move. So yeah, Bullet Seed is definitely a neat one. Probably not going to be relying too much on it, especially later on, but it's got some good potential here. Wow, we're actually able to take out the Zigzagoon with it. Very good. Alright. I'm definitely quite happy about that result. Now we want to head into this building.
Hello, this is the Pretty Petal Flower Shop, spreading flowers throughout the world. Your name is? Hayden. That's a nice name. Hayden, would you like to learn about berries?
Yes, I would.
Berries grow on trees that thrive only in dark, loamy soil. If it takes some berries, be sure to plant one in the loamy soil again. A planted berry will soon sprout, grow into a plant, flower beautifully, then grow berries again. I want to see the whole wide world filled with beautiful flowers. That's my dream. Please help me, Hayden. Plant berries and bring more flowers into the world.
Just might want to do that soon.
Hello. The more attention you give to flowers, the more beautifully they bloom. You'll like tending flowers, I'm sure of it. You can have this.
So by talking with her, we get the Whalmer Pail.
While berry plants are growing, water them with the Whalmer Pail. Oh, another thing. If we don't pick berries for a while, they'll drop off onto the ground, but they'll sprout again. Isn't that awesome? It's like they have the will to live.
So this is a key item that is important for cultivating berries. With this, we'll be able to water the berries that we plant in soil. So it's a good opportunity for us to start cultivating berries for later use.
I'm trying to be like my big sisters. I'm growing flowers too. Here you go, it's for you.
So this girl will give you a random berry out of a small selection at least once a day. So definitely a good idea to talk to her as much as you can. And with that particular item she gave us, Person berries are able to heal confusion, which is a status we'll definitely want to watch out for as this run continues, because, oh boy, that one can really cause trouble for us. Alright, that sign's warning us about something we'll be seeing pretty soon. we don't need to worry about that for the time being.
We must have been fated to meet. May I ask you for a battle?
I mean, sure. So we got over here a lady, which is the female counterpart to the rich boy we encountered earlier. Just gonna go ahead and take out the Zigzagoon. So I'm pretty sure this lady is very similar to the rich boy in that she will use full restores to heal her Pokemon. So definitely watch out for that. Alright, let's get back a little bit of HP with Absorb, and we should be good. Yep, takes out the Zigzagoon real easy.
Oh my!
And we get a sizable amount of money for beating you.
Hello is the beginning of goodbye. I hope we meet again.
Yeah, who knows, we may be talking with you a bit later once we get another thing.
Should I or shouldn't I? Okay, sure, I'll battle.
So we got ourselves another last to deal with here. And I believe this one is more unique in that she has a team of grass-type Pokemon. Would be actually decent to have Liam fight against these things, but we're going to switch on over to Gladys, as she's going to be able to easily handle these things. Hello there, Moon Drop Soul Heart. Alright, that's a bit of a mouthful, but welcome to the stream. We're doing a Pokemon Sapphire Nuzlocke run here, so feel free to stick around and enjoy the vibes around here. One more hit with Peck will take out this Lotad. Very good work, Gladys. And we got another level up for Liam, and now he's learning Quick Attack. Alright, so this is definitely something we are going to replace Pound with. This Pound just does regular damage. Quick Attack, meanwhile, is what's known as a priority move, which means that they can strike first in the turn order, regardless of what your Pokemon's speed stat is, making them very useful to use if you want to finish off opponents. And then we have this little fellow here. Shroomish is a grass type, and oh man, that is both simultaneously bad and good for us, considering what Gladys's ability is. So, our Tailo here, she has an ability called Guts, which increases her attack power when she's afflicted with a status ailment. So if we go for the attack with her this time, we should be able to do more damage than we did before to the Shroomish. Yeah! That is good! Such a beautiful hit there.
I shouldn't have battled!
So yeah, it might actually be beneficial not to cure that paralysis on Gladys for the time being, as that is quite nice to have for a little bit. So we'll just restore your HP, and then we can move on. Oh, we can see an item over here, but we can't reach it because of this bloody tree. We'll get you later. So now over here, prepare for one of Generation 3's most well-known gimmicks. Oh, we have to actually talk to you.
We're twins, so we battle Pokemon together.
Yeah, most games, these guys are able to attack you when you get into their line of sight, but guess we don't have to worry about that here. Anyway, we got ourselves a double battle. Like I said, this is one of the main gimmicks of the Generation 3 games. And yep, can be quite nasty when these things come up. But also pretty good because I actually really like this battle format. What I would like to do is try to take out these guys in a good fashion. We're going to start by focusing on the Lotad, as that's the only one that can do direct damage to us. So we're going to have Liam use Leer to decrease their defenses. So you can see that a move like Leer is able to affect multiple Pokemon on the field, whereas with an attack like Peck, it can only affect a single target. So that's definitely something to consider whenever you're doing double battles. being able to pay attention to which moves are able to affect a certain number of Pokemon, and then targeting a specific opponent in order to maximize the damage you're able to do in battle. So we're just going to be having Liam softening up our opponents here, while Gladys does the main damage with Peck. Whew, that is beautiful. Taking out a Lotad in one hit. And the Seedot should be little trouble for us. Just lower your defense again and have Gladys finish you. It is able to buff itself with Harden, but shouldn't have to worry too much. Very good work, you two. And now Gladys gets up to level 11. Very good.
We battled together, but we both lost.
That you did. But, you know, there's still a pretty good fight. Speaking of which, I think we got another fight coming up here. Let's swap around the team a bit, because don't think we're going to need Gladys for this next one. Why keep it a secret? I'm the water Pokemon expert. Huh? You don't know me? So this is a fisherman. As you can expect, they typically use water-type Pokemon, such as this guy, Magikarp. And yeah, we're really not going to have to worry about anything this thing can do. Magikarp is well known for being a very pathetic battler. At this current level, it only has one attack, which is Splash, which is incapable of dealing damage. So yeah, these things are pretty much just free experience points. There's really nothing to worry about against these guys. At some point later, it could be beneficial to catch a Magikarp of our own, because they do have a very nice quality about them that we'll eventually get to see. But for now, Liam will just finish this fish off. And that gets you to level 12. Very good. I thought I wasn't too bad, if I may say so, but I guess not. Bleh. So now we've taken care of you, we can go over here and grab some more berries. So cherry berries here are able to heal paralysis. And these are definitely things you'll want to cultivate. Leppa berries are able to replenish power points. And they're pretty much the best way to acquire power point replenishing items in this game, since items like ethers are in very short supply.
If you see berries growing in loamy soil, feel free to take them. But make sure you plant a berry in the same spot. That's common courtesy. Here, I'll share this with you.
So this lady gives us a Chesto Berry. So that is an item that can cure sleep, which is definitely a status we'll be seeing later that can definitely be pretty nasty. But for now, we can head over here to Rustboro City. Very quickly, I want to head over here and grab that X-Defend, as that is going to be an item that will be very useful to us in a bit. So, X-Defend is what's known as a battle item. You're able to use it in order to temporarily raise the stats of your Pokemon in a fight. However, the stat buff will go away when the battle ends, or if your Pokemon switches out. So, you'll definitely want to time when you use those items effectively in order to be able to make the most use out of them. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to buy these items until quite a bit later, but they're definitely very helpful, and I can recommend picking those up. Just like people, there are male and female Pokemon, but no one seems to have any idea how they're different. Yeah, we're going to have to wait until another generation before we can see gender differences. The man next door gave me an HM. I use it to teach my Pokemon how to cut down skinny trees. So that'll be something we'll want to keep in mind for later. So Rustboro City here. This is definitely a larger settlement compared to what we have encountered previously in this session. So we're definitely going to want to explore as much of this place as possible. Also, like to give our King's Rock to Shari, as you're probably going to be our next battler we're going to send out for fights if we need to. So we're still going to focus on Liam for a bit. But I also want to get the rest of the team leveled up pretty soon. My Pokemon evolved. It has a lot of HP now. I should buy super potions for it instead of ordinary potions. So over here in Rustboro City, we got ourselves a different selection compared to how things were in the previous areas. So how things work with the shops is that they offer new items at different locations. So over here in Rustboro, we got ourselves a much larger variety compared to what we saw previously. Gonna look at what we have in our inventory and see what I would like to purchase, because there's some good stuff here. And we have plenty of Pokeballs, so I don't think we're gonna need those. And got a good supply of healing items, so I don't think we're gonna need to purchase too much. However, one thing I do want to grab here is Repel. So this is an item that will prevent wild Pokemon from appearing on the field for a limited amount of time, which will definitely be useful to us in a little bit if I want to try and maximize my chances of making as many encounters as we want. The old sailor, Mr. Briny, lives in a cottage by the sea, goes for walks to the tunnel every so often. I'm probably not going to talk to every NPC around here, just ones that I feel are going to be important. But it is a good idea to check around and talk to as many people as you can, because they can usually give you good items. So this kid here will give you a Premier Ball. So that's basically a regular Pokeball, but with a different color scheme, where both of its halves are white instead of being red and white. And so definitely a very cool look for a Pokeball. I definitely like using them on encounters that I feel are extra special in order to make them stand out more. So that's always good to bear in mind. But yeah, check around as much as you can. Oh, so this guy also nicknames his Pokemon Pekka! Giving the name Pikachu to a Pikachu seems pointless. Some people have named Pokemon even worse than that. Trust me, I've seen a lot of YouTubers who play these games. So here we got ourselves a trainer school. It's a good area to visit if you want some added advice about Pokemon battles. Yep, Pokemon cannot use items like potions or antidotes, so don't bother giving them to them. Good advice on dealing with confusion. I always wanted a Seedot, I'm finally getting one. Trading Pokemon my friend right now. Sad that's a feature in multiplayer, is you can actually trade Pokemon with friends to be able to give them Pokemon that they may want to use, as different versions of the game have different exclusives. And if we talk to this fellow here, definitely want to do this before we leave town. Students who don't study get a little taste of my Quick Claw. Whether or not you're a good student will be evident from the way you use this item. Quick Claw. This is a very good item for us to pick up. So this is an item that will temporarily give... Well, it has a chance of being able to give a Pokemon top priority in a battle. So this could be very useful to us to have. So I'm probably not going to use it at the moment, but it's definitely a good one to consider one of your Pokemon to hold. Definitely seeing some people hyping up the gym leader in this area. So we previously heard that there is a gym leader in town from our father, so we'll definitely want to seek them out. You well-trained Pokemon? You're obviously a skilled trainer. No, wait, don't say a word. I can tell just by looking at you. I'm sure that you'll be capable of putting this HM to good use. No need to be modest or shy. Go on, take it. So we get HM01 by talking to this guy. That HM, it's Cut. An HM move is one that can be used by Pokemon out of a battle. Any Pokemon that's learned Cut can chop down thin trees if the trainers earn the Stone Badge. And unlike a TM, an HM doesn't break after one use. So time to talk about these things. The Hidden Machines, or HMs, are special items that can be used to teach certain moves to your Pokemon. So in the case of Cut, it's able to teach a move that will attack with claws, and it has the added utility of being able to cut down trees on the overworld. Yeah, we're probably going to give this to Mickey, as he's going to be our designated HM user for a good portion of the game. We'll go ahead and get rid of Tackle. Now, the thing with HM moves is that, unlike other moves, you are incapable of forgetting them compared to other types of attacks. So they're going to be on your Pokemon's moveset for a good chunk of the adventure. It's going to be a while before we're able to have the ability to get rid of HM moves once they've been taught. So, yeah, definitely watch out for that. Yes, Pokemon are indeed strange creatures. Don't tell my team I said that. So I believe in this house there is a special feature you can do in Emerald where you're able to acquire unique wallpaper for the PC. But we don't need to worry about that in this particular game. So over here is the Pokemon Gym, which we'll be heading into pretty soon. We're not gonna go in there just yet. If we head into this house... So this kid will offer a trade, a Slackoff for his Makuhita. So that could actually be a good Pokemon to have at this point in the adventure. However, we're not getting rid of Carl. He's Carl. He's cool. And he could potentially become a good Pokemon in his own right. Just gonna, take a while. So in the meantime, what else can we do around here? We can head into this building. Oh, so apparently our running shoes are made here. So this is the Devon Corporation. Think of them as like the Silphco from the Generation 1 games, as they're the company that produces a lot of good products that trainers use throughout the Hoenn region. It's definitely nice to remember that for later. So over here we can go to Route 115, which is an area we're not going to be able to do much on for the time being. There are opportunities to catch Pokemon here, however, we're not going to see those until much later on. So for now, we can just grab the Super Potion that's over here. Besides that, there's not much else we can do in this area. We will want to come back here later once we get some more techniques. But for now, we're going to move on. So what I want to do is head over this way to Route 116. So this area is going to be very beneficial for us to explore, as we have a lot of trainers around here, which I would like to fight before we challenge the gym. But I also want to come here, as this gives us some new opportunities to encounter wild Pokemon that we can catch. Though I don't think too many of the Pokemon around here are going to be that useful. But at least we can have an opportunity to try and catch something here. Start by taking out this kid over here. So, one more hit should take out this Zigzagoon. Very nice. Able to take you out with 2 Bullet Seeds, which is quite good. And then your next Pokemon is a Machop. So this is a fighting type Pokemon. So, whatever you do not send out normal or dark types against this thing. Machop is a very strong physical attacker, so it can definitely be a rough opponent to face in battle. That's also a pretty good one, if you can get one on your team. Ooh, that was real good. At this point, I think we can finish you with Absorb. see much reason to... Wow. Okay. This guy can use low kick. So that's a pretty unique attack in that it doesn't have set damage, and the damage that it can inflict is based on the weight of your Pokemon. So if you use it on a heavy Pokemon, then it will do even more damage. Yeah, with that we were able to take out this kid's team. Now, before we step into the grass in this area, I would like to use the repel that we bought earlier, as I would like to avoid getting encounters on this route until we're a bit farther in. Let me teach how strong my adorable Pokemon is. Okay, we'll see what you got. Janice. She's got herself a Meryl! This is a personal favorite of mine from the Generation 2 days. Meryl is a very cute and very defensive water-type Pokemon. So it's going to be very good for Liam to fight this thing. Ooh, critical hit. But yeah, this one is definitely more of a tanky Pokemon. It's honestly not that good of a battler, and it's going to be a while before this thing eventually becomes a water fairy type in the later games. However, if you are playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you do have the chance of having water fairy with those guys. And oh man, they are such good Pokemon in the later games. But for now, they're still decent. It's definitely a Pokemon I have used a ton of, just because they're very adorable and can be surprisingly useful in the right circumstances. And over here, we got ourselves a Hiker, which tend to use more physically oriented Pokemon like fighting and rock types. In this case, he's got Geodude, a Pokemon we're going to be seeing plenty of in a bit. Geodude is basically all physical, and they have very poor special stats and speed, so using a grass type like Liam is really good against these guys. See, we're one-shotting them just with a single hit from Bullet Seed. Really shows just how strong we are compared to these guys. Yeah, we'll just blast away these boulders, and we should be good. So that's definitely a good hint for what we can expect to see later on. Oh, losing made me tired. How did you get tired? You were not the one doing battles. Now, whatever. Talk to you. I want to dig that tunnel. Seems to be an area where they're doing some construction work, it seems. Rust Turf Tunnel linking Rustboro and Verdant Turf. The tunnel project's been cancelled. So we heard a little bit about Verdant Turf in the last session. Ooh, that's a good item. That is an X Special, which increases the special attack of a Pokemon in battle. So that will definitely be pretty useful coming up for something. Also in this area you can see these little square indents in the wall. That's not going to be something we'll be able to do until much later, so we're going to ignore that for now, and we're going to head in here to Rust Turf Tunnel. So this area is quite special for one particular reason. There is exactly one Pokemon that can be caught in this area, and that is Whismur. So this thing is a normal type. Between our options, we're going to go with Mickey. This thing is a normal type, and honestly, it's decent. It's got a few interesting quirks with it. As we can see, this thing is able to know the move Uproar. So that is a special kind of attack that has the added effect of making it so that a Pokemon cannot be put to sleep while that attack is being used. But anyway, we're going to take this opportunity to catch this guy. Start with our Premier Ball, because it's got a good look on you. Alright, very nice. Whismur, the Whisper Pokemon. Whismur is very timid. If it starts to cry loudly, it becomes startled by its own crying and cries even harder. When it finally stops crying, the Pokemon goes to sleep, all tired out. Aw, poor little thing. So we're gonna call you Echo. So I feel like it's a very fitting name for Whismur here. But yeah, like I said before, this is the only spot in the game where you're able to acquire this Pokemon. So, well, it's the only Pokemon we can find in this area, so that's what I wanted to say about that. And we can grab another Pokeball in here. So now we managed to deal with this encounter. We should be good to head back to Route 116 in order to get a catch there. The reason I want to use a repel in order to avoid getting an encounter on that route is because you can actually encounter Wild Whismur on Route 116. So I wanted to avoid getting a potential encounter there until much later, just so I could be guaranteed to have as many possible encounters as we can catch in this area. Also, there's some pretty elusive Pokemon that can only be found on Route 116, so would like an opportunity to try to catch one of those things. Oh, we are so good with Liam here. So we got these rocks over here that we can't do anything about for the time being. So we'll want to remember these much later on in this area. For now, let's just work our way back out of the cave and we should be good. While we're fighting these guys, I also want to say about normal type Pokemon, if you're looking to do, well, if you're looking to add one into your team in a Nuzlocke run. They got some interesting things with them that could be quite beneficial to you when it comes to Nuzlocke runs. For one, I do want to say that normal types are completely incapable of dealing super effective damage to attackers with normal type moves, so that's definitely something you want to watch out for. And there are certain types that normal's not going to be very good for doing, as they will do not very effective damage to rock and steel Pokemon, and they are completely ineffective when dealing with ghost types. So that is something to keep in mind when going through these areas. Shari's taking a bit of a beating here, so let's switch over to Carl. Oh, if I must. This thing is going to be exclusively using Uproar for the time being, just with the way this move works. So we just take this opportunity to soften you up a bit, and then switch around the team. Alright, you've calmed yourself down. That means it's going to stop with the Uproar for the time being, and it can switch over to a different move. So I believe the only thing these things have at the moment is Pound and Uproar. They can get some pretty nice attacks later on, but that's way down the line with that particular Pokemon. Alright, so I would like to heal up Shari, and we should be good for taking care of the rest of the things in this area. So we're not going to be able to fight every trainer on this route at the moment, as we cannot cut down trees until we manage to get the next gym badge. So we'll want to remember that for the time being. But over here we can grab Nincada. So this is a quite interesting Pokemon for us to get here in this area. I think I'm going to have Velvet out to deal with you. So Nincada, like I said before, is a bug ground-type Pokemon. And this thing is quite unique when it comes to its evolutions, as the thing with this Pokemon is it has a normal evolution where it becomes a bug flying type. However, if it evolves when you have a free space in your party, that also causes another Pokemon to be born from its evolution process, which is a bug ghost type Pokemon named Shedinja. And that thing is so freaking interesting to use, especially in Nuzlocke runs, as this thing can be really good to use in battle or really bad, depending on what you can see on your opponent's team. But yeah, definitely an interesting Pokemon for us to catch as part of this challenge. Nincada lives underground. It uses sharp claws to carve the roots of trees and absorb moisture and nutrients. This Pokemon can't withstand bright sunlight, so avoids it. I frequently will find cicada molts on trees around my neighborhood, so it's always quite nice to get to see these little guys. And also the adult cicadas once they've finally managed to grow, so I'm definitely quite accustomed to these guys. As for you, you're a female Nincada, so that gives me an opportunity to reference a certain comic that I have. There is something we could name you. I think I'm gonna go for a different idea for a name. So we're gonna name you Shinobi. Alright, and now that we've caught that Pokemon, I believe that is every possible encounter we can make before challenging the Rustboro Gym. Yeah, we have already cleared up all of these different routes that are available to us. Alright, so we definitely made some really good progress with preparing ourselves for the fight ahead. So we're just going to be finishing up these last couple of trainers we need here before we take on the gym. Shouldn't be too bad. We've already got Liam all trained up. So now that he's level 15, he should be in a very good position for the next battle coming up. And, woo, good work, Shari! Managing to get that crit. And next up, we got another Nincada. So I'm actually going to switch you out against this thing, because Nincada does have a bug-type attack, and bug is one of the few types that's super effective against dark. So, yeah, definitely watch out against those guys if you are using a dark type. This one shouldn't be too bad. It's gonna be a while until Velvet gets another attack that's gonna be a lot more fitting for her to use, but I'm quite confident that we'll be able to get it pretty soon. It's just got to weather a couple more battles before we get that. So what's something else that we could mention just as we're dealing with this fight? So I guess I can say that very recently I've decided that I wanted to revisit the game Celeste, as that's a game that I got a while ago but never actually managed to finish it. And yeah, it's definitely a game that I can dig a lot of. Like, it's a very challenging game, but I feel like the challenge is pretty fair considering a lot of factors with it. Alright, got ourselves a Silcoon here. This thing's basically free experience as it can't actually attack, so we're gonna send Carl out against you. If I must. But yeah, it's definitely been pretty fun revisiting Celeste. Like, I just finished the first area of the game that you can explore yesterday, and kind of gonna be going through this game at a bit of a slow pace compared to some other games I go through. It's definitely a very challenging game, and the entire reason I put it down for a good amount of time is because I had just reach a point that was very tricky for me to get through, and I eventually just decided to put it down afterwards. But yeah, I am very happy to be revisiting Celeste, as it just has a really cool theming to it. Just a very beautiful art direction, gorgeous music, and some pretty nice characters behind it as well that fit the theming of the game, where it's a challenging game that's all about dealing with stress and anxiety, and I feel like that's pretty beautiful to see a game going into that kind of heavy discussions and theming. But yeah, I definitely like to take an opportunity to definitely play some more of that and eventually get a chance to finish it. Probably sometime this year, depending on how things go. It's also a game I do want to stream on this channel at some point, but that's not going to be until after I have finished a playthrough of it, for obvious reasons. I should be fine here. Okay, done a bit of damage to us, so... Yeah, Velvet, you can take this one out for us. Just want to be careful with my Pokemon, especially when they start to get into that range where a potential critical hit could spell disaster. Shouldn't have to worry too much here. Alright, we managed to poison you. So now Velvet, we're going to switch over to Absorb to recover a bit of HP, while also wearing this thing out with poison. It's nice to see our team coming together like this. Definitely been seeing a lot of growth over the last couple of battles, and yeah, I'm very excited to see what this team is eventually going to become as we venture further into this game. So we can pick up a Repel here to replace the one that we used up earlier. So that could be good for later. And let's press on. So now we're back in Rustboro City. There is only one thing that I want to do here, and that is taking on the Rustboro Gym. At this point, we should definitely have a good shot at being able to deal with this. But first, I want to check out the Pokemon we just caught earlier, as they could have some good potential to us. So over here in our PC box, this is where we're able to store the various Pokemon that we can encounter in our journey. We have a lot of potential boxes we can use, but we only really need to worry about a few in this run, considering our encounters are very limited. So let's see what we got here. So Brave Nature on Whismur is actually really good, as that improves the damage that your stab normal attacks are going to be doing. And Shinobi is Bashful. Alright, that's pretty okay for you. I believe Bashful is a neutral nature. Oh wow, you have a lot of defense. So yeah, between these potential encounters, I'm definitely leaning more to the Whismur, but you're obviously going to require some training later. But yeah, these are some pretty nice Pokemon. We can probably see about training them up later. And I'm going to take this opportunity just to name our box here. So we're actually able to name our PC boxes for organization. So we'll name this one Reserves, for all of our future encounters that might be beneficial to us. And also what some people do is also have a spare box that they use is a graveyard to store the Pokemon that they lose during Nuzlocke runs. We're not going to worry too much about that at the moment, as we have other priorities we got to take care of. So for Liam, we are going to give you a berry to hold for this area. We're going to give you an Oran Berry. as that will replenish your HP when you take pretty big damage, which can be quite nice for later on. So pretty much, Liam is going to be our ace for this gym battle. If the worst should come to it, we could also rely on Velvet, because she has Absorb, but I really do not want to send her out against this fight in particular. And then the rest of our Pokemon here are basically fodder. I don't really see any of them being able to do much against the Pokemon we're going up against. So for this area, this gym is going to be pretty easy to do if you have a Trico or a Mudkip as your starter. If you pick Torchic, then you're going to struggle here unless you level it up some more. So that is what I want to say with regards to that. Gonna buy a couple potions. Got plenty of healing items, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about this. You also have X items here that could be necessary for you. Personally, I would recommend buying X Defend, as they can be really useful in this upcoming fight. But we already have one, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, let's do this. Yo, how's it going? Listen, my friend, would you like to become the champion? I'm no trainer, not me, but I can sure give you winning advice. That's settled then. We'll aim for the Pokemon Championship together. It's your job as a trainer to collect gym badges, am I right? But gym leaders aren't pushovers, and that's where I come in. I'm here to provide expert advice. Roxanne, the gym leader, is a user of Rock-type Pokemon. The Rock-type is very durable, but it can't stand Water-type and Grass-type moves. Come see me afterwards if you beat the gym leader. Well, go for it. So in this Pokemon gym, we will naturally be encountering some gym trainers that will be halting our progress to the gym leader. Usually you can expect gyms to have some sort of puzzle in order to solve in order to be able to reach the gym leader. However, for this one, there's pretty much just two paths you can take to the gym leader. Either straight ahead around that will lead you to the trainers, or by taking the path around, which is a bit longer, but you don't have to worry about trainers if you take that path. However, I recommend fighting the trainers in the gyms you go to, as this experience is very important if you want to have an easy time against these fights. Some easy way to get some good experience, so take them when you got them. So Liam is very, very close here. You were too good for me. And we got one more fight before the gym leader. If you can't beat me, you won't stand a chance against Roxanne. So, of course, when going in this gym, we, of course, have Pokemon representing their type that we gotta deal with. Rock Pokemon usually have very high physical stats, especially when it comes to attack or defense. They are very solid when it comes to dealing damage and being able to resist a lot of different hits, as the Rock type is really good when it comes to dealing super effective damage against quite a few types. However, they do have a lot of weaknesses that also overlap with another type, which can be easily exploited. But anyway, I want to show here that we are learning Pursuit. So that's a dark type attack. It could be useful to us, but given our current set, I'm actually not going to learn that. I don't think that Liam is really going to benefit from having this move. Wow, you got some potential. Thank you very much. And now that we've reached level 16, it's time for Liam to evolve. Oh my, I can feel myself getting stronger. Oh my, just look at me now. So now Liam has evolved into Grovyle. This guy is quite good. And he's learning Fury Cutter. A new potential attack we could teach to him, though I'm probably not going to actually learn this one. It's an attack that intensifies with each hit. So it starts off with 10 power, but it increases exponentially with each hit you land on the opponent, which can be quite useful. However, we don't really need to rely on Bug throughout this adventure, so I don't see it being too useful for us to learn this one. But yeah, this is a very nice boon to us, now that Liam is a Grovyle. So we can definitely expect us to have a pretty good chance against the gym leader now that you're evolved. Well, I will do my best in this next fight. Alright, our preparations are set. Let's take on the gym leader.
Hello, I'm Roxanne, the Rustboro Pokemon Gym Leader. I became a gym leader so that I may apply what I learned at the Pokemon Trainer School in battle. Would you kindly demonstrate how you battle and with which Pokemon?
Oh man, if you're like me and you played through BioShock, the phrase "would you kindly" has been completely ruined to us. Anyway, Roxanne! She'll be starting off with a single Geodude. This thing really isn't too bad. Hit it with a grass or a water type attack and you're good. Very nice work there, Liam. And her second Pokemon is Nosepass. So this thing can be a bit tricky. So I'm actually going to use an X-Defend to increase our defenses, because this thing can be quite nasty. It's actually not too bad. It's more of a defensive Pokemon than an offensive one, but it does have one particular move that can do a lot of damage, which is Rock Tomb. And that thing can be really nasty. Alright, if we can get in one more good hit with Bullet Seed, we should have this. So, of course, Roxanne also has healing items she can use on our Pokemon when they're low on health. So, gym leaders can hold a set number of items that they can use in order to heal their Pokemon. However, in this instance, we don't have to deal with too much with Roxanne. So, I'm actually going to use my X Special to increase Liam's special attack. And this should enable us to do more damage to this thing. It's able to get off the Rock Tomb, which also lowers our speed. Let's go to Absorb and try to replenish our HP here. Damn, look at that damage. Very, very good. So one more hit should be able to take this thing out, unless Roxanne goes for another healing item. Yep, there's another potion. On, we almost got this. One more hit should take it out. So let's go for Bullet Seed as a stylish finisher here. Bam! There we go! So Roxanne is done. And Liam gets to level 17. And he's learning Pursuit again. No thank you. That wasn't too bad of a match.
So, I lost. It seems I still have much more to learn. I understand. The Pokemon League's rules state that trainers are to be given this if they defeat a gym leader. Please accept the official Pokemon League Stone Badge. Something else I do want to note, now that we have beaten Roxanne. Some people, when they do Nuzlocke runs, they tend to have a rule that they can't over-level past the ace of the gym leader. So in that instance, I would have Liam be lower level than the Nosepass that we came across here. However, I do not like to play with that particular rule. I tend to have my Pokemon around the level of a gym leader before we fight them, and usually I go at them even lower level if I really want to challenge myself. So we're not going to worry too much about over-leveling. It's just that I really want to get Liam evolved before this fight in particular, just so we would have an easy time of it. And now that we've beaten Roxanne, we get ourselves the Stone Badge. The first of many. The Stone Badge heightens the attack power of your Pokemon. It also enables them to use the HM move Cut outside of battle. Please, take this with you too. And we received TM39, which is going to be quite nice for us. That TM39 contains Rock Tomb. Not only inflicts damage by dropping rocks, it also lowers speed. If you use a TM, it instantly teaches the move to a Pokemon. Remember, a TM can be used only once, so think before you use it. That can be quite nice to save for a few Pokemon later on we can encounter. But yep, that's definitely a good one to hold on to. Oh man, that fight went so well. Liam, you were amazing.
I was just doing the best I can for the team.
And that certainly was the best we could do. Woo boy! So now we've taken care of that, let's head back to the center. Get out! Out of the way! Wait, please, don't take my goods! Oh boy, we still got Team Aqua to deal with, it seems. So yeah, after that battle, definitely like to rest up at the center. So yeah, definitely shows the use of X items there, as they were very useful for minimizing the damage that Roxanne was able to do to us, while also maximizing the damage we can do to her. So yeah, definitely make good use of those. Man, we didn't even get to use our berry, so that's very nice. Alright, so the next part, we're gonna lead with Shari here for a bit, as we're definitely gonna need a strong attacker for what's coming up, and I would like to try to get a few more levels on our weaker Pokemon here, just so that we're prepared for some of the things coming up. Let's go talk to this guy. Oh, it's you! You're that fantastic trainer who helped me in Petalburg Woods! Help me, I was robbed by Team Aqua! I have to get the Devon goods back! If I don't, I'm gonna be in serious trouble! Alright, this guy's career is on the line here, so it's time for us to head back to Route 116. And, now that we have Cut, and have the Stone Badge, we're able to finally cut down trees, which is a pretty standard obstacle we're going to see throughout the Hoenn region here. So, from this point forward, Cut is mainly going to be a move that is useful for dealing with getting to certain things that we can see along our path. It's mostly an optional attack at this stage, so definitely pretty useful if you want to get to some hidden items that are out of your reach. But trust me when I say, it is very useful, as we're going to be acquiring a lot of items coming up that are going to be very useful to the team using this method. And also sometimes there are trainers you can find in areas that you can exclusively reach using Cut. So that's also something to consider here. Anyway, we're just going to let Shari ram her head against this Ralts over and over. So Ralts is a Psychic-type Pokemon, and Psychic-type moves have no effect against Dark-type Pokemon. So that's a pretty good reason to carry around a Dark-type like Poochyena. Shari here's definitely gonna have a good benefit against these Pokemon. That took longer than expected, but I was able to take it out. And that gets you a nice level up. So how about we switch you out for... do we want Mickey or Carl for this next one? Yep, Carl has better attack power, so you can handle this next one. And you can have the King's Rock for now, buddy. So I don't really know why they place so many of these cut trees around here, because there really isn't too many different paths we can take around here. Also, I believe in Emerald, you can encounter more trainers in this area, especially for getting more opportunities to do double battles. As with Pokemon Emerald, that game offers up more opportunities for double battles compared to this one. So what we're going to do with Carl here, we're going to use Yawn, which is a fairly unique status move against the Shroomish. Then I'm going to swap you out for Gladys. So
So what Yawn does is it takes a turn for its effect to kick in, but it will put the opponent to sleep, preventing your opponent from being able to do damage for a couple of turns. Definitely quite nice if you want to disable an opponent and get in a lot of free hits without them hitting you back. Also quite nice for setting up your team if you want to get some stat buffs before just finishing them off in style. Then, of course, we got ourselves a Whisper here. It'll be quite nasty, but we should be guaranteed to take you out with this next quick attack. There we go. I'm in shock. I lost? Yes, you did. The team is doing so well at the moment. Like, I'm definitely quite attached to this party. I don't know how many more of these Pokemon we are going to actually bring into the late game of Sapphire, because there are a lot of pretty tough battles coming up, and yeah, some of these Pokemon are probably not going to see much use after a certain point. But I will try to build a pretty nice team with our options here. Anyway, want to make sure we grab all these berries up here, especially the Chesto berries, as curing sleep can be very beneficial in certain battles. But also we picked up some pineapple berries. So these ones are fairly interesting. These ones don't have effects in battle. Instead, they're listed as a Pokeblock ingredient. That's going to be related to something we're going to see a little bit later in the adventure, but not anything that's going to be too major. And I'm pretty sure we managed to get everything we need over here. So we should be good to see where we can find this Team Aqua Grunt. And while we're just making our way through here, what's something else that we could discuss? So, pretty recently I was watching my friend Master Starman. He was doing some live streams of Final Fantasy VI pretty recently, which has definitely got me interested in jumping back into that particular game, because with the way I'm at in one of my files in that game, I'm pretty much set to take on the final dungeon, so I would definitely like to jump back into that game at some point so I can actually finish it, as I do have a personal rule with a lot of my games that I want to stream, as I want to at least do a full playthrough of the game on my own time before I eventually get around to streaming them. And with Final Fantasy VI, that is definitely a game that's on my radar as something I want to play. Oh, what am I to do? We were on our walk, Pico and I, when we were jumping on Fug. The scoundrel made off with my darling Pico. Roar, Pico! So we gotta help this man get his Pokemon back. What, you coming? Come and get some then! This could be an interesting matchup, but I think we should be good. Gar, keelhaul it all! That hostage Pokemon turned out to be worthless! And to think I made a getaway in this tunnel to nowhere! Hey you! So you wanna battle me? So having a rematch against the Team Aqua Grunt we encountered back in Petalburg Woods. So, fun fact, back when I did my Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke comic, I actually named this grunt Tulio, as I felt like it would be a pretty fun thing to give more character to the various team grunts that we would encounter all throughout the adventure. So yeah, that's what I settled on as a name for this guy. Alright, this guy's buffing up his Poochyena, but we're gonna put it to sleep in a bit. And what I would like to do is get a few tail whips off this thing in order to lower its defenses so that we can really bring on the boom. So I'm going to take an opportunity just to lower its defenses. I could also use Growl in order to get rid of that howl it put up on itself. Yeah, let's do that. Very good. Alright, this has definitely been very nice. So the way sleep works is that it gives your Pokemon a chance to wake up either 2 to 5 turns after the move is actually used. So depending on how things go, sleep can be very beneficial or very poor to you. Ah! My career in crime comes to a dead end! Another little bit of trivia is that Tulio in my Emerald comic, he didn't use a Poochyena on his team, he used a Corphish. Yeah, I tried to implement a lot more water-type Pokemon into the Team Aqua grunts that would appear throughout the comic, and I'm quite happy with the result with that. This is plain not right! The boss told me this would be a slick and easy job to pull. All I had to do was steal some package from Devin. You want it back that badly? Take it! And there he goes. Hey, old man.
Pico! Am I glad to see you're safe? Pico owes her life to you. They call me Mr. Briny. And you are? Ah, so you're Hayden. I sincerely thank you. Now, if there's anything that troubles you, don't hesitate to tell me. You can usually find me in my cottage by the sea near Petalburg Woods. Come, Pico, we should make our way home.
So Mr. Briny's Pokemon there is a Wingull. A Pokemon we'll eventually get to see more of, but for the time being gonna have to forget about that, as we still got other business to take care of. Carl's pretty close to a level up, which is quite nice. So there's nothing more we can do here in Rust Turf for the time being. But at least the worker here can go back to his work, and we can come in here to see what's going on. Yeah, definitely giving us a lot of things to hint about with our journey. So yeah, the whole deal with this whole area is that they were developing a tunnel between the mountains in order to open up better traffic between Rustboro and Verdanturf. However, in the construction process, they realized they were having a negative impact on the wild Pokemon in this area, so they eventually canceled the construction process. However, this guy over here dedicated himself to try and finish the tunnel project using only his bare hands instead of using heavy machinery. So, you know, good for him for looking out for the little guys on these routes. So as something else I want to mention regarding this route, one of the potential other Pokemon we could have gotten in this area is a normal type called Skitty, which, yeah, definitely not a Pokemon I particularly like to use. It's kind of more on the lame side compared to other normal type Pokemon, and it's not even going to really grow into anything that great later on in its life. So, definitely happy I didn't end up catching that thing. Nincada, though, that still has some nice potential if we get to level you up later. And I also believe that if you're playing Emerald, you also have a rare chance of encountering Abra in this area, which is a really, really good Psychic-type Pokemon. However, trying to catch that thing is really tricky, so yeah, probably not gonna have a good chance of catching it your first try in a Nuzlocke run. But let's just move on out of here, please. Man, so many bugs are swarming us over here. We should be fine. Looking at how much time we have left in this stream, I have a pretty good idea on where we're going to stop things for this session, and it's probably going to be happening a little bit later. there's still a lot of other stuff I want to take care of while we're going through this portion of the game. So I'll definitely let you all know when we're about to close things for the day. For now, let's give that King's Rock to Mickey. Actually, he doesn't need that because he has Headbutt, which also has a chance of inflicting... also has a chance of flinching, so yeah, you really don't need that. Oh, how'd it go? The Devon goods? You did! You got him back! You really are a great trainer. I know as my thanks, I'll give you another Great Ball. Let it be known, we got this guy's Great Balls. Excuse me, please, come with me. This is the Devon Corporation's third floor. Our president's office is on this floor. Anyway, can't tell you how much I'm grateful for what you've done. By the way, that parcel you got back for us, could I get you to deliver that to the shipyard in Slateport? It'd be awful if those robbers try to take it again. Could I count on you to do that for me? Oh, that's right, can you wait here a second? Our president would like to have a word with you. Please, come with me. Okay, sure, we'll do this. Please, go ahead.
I'm Mr. Stone, the president of the Devon Corporation. I just got word about you. You've saved the staff not just once, but twice. I have a favor to ask of an amazing person like you. I understand you're delivering a package to Slateport Shipyard. Well, on the way, could you stop off in Duford Town? I was hoping you'd deliver a letter to Stephen in Duford.
And we get a letter.
Now, you should know that I am a great president, so I'd never be so cheap as to ask a favor for nothing in return. That's why I want you to have this.
And we receive a Pokénav from the president.
That device. It's a Pokemon Navigator, or Pokénav for short. It's an indispensable tool for any trainer on an adventure. It has a map of the Hoenn region. You can check the location of Duford and Slateport easily.
So this item here is quite different in Pokemon Emerald as opposed to how it is in Ruby and Sapphire. But this one is still quite the nice little item here. This gives us free use of the Hoenn map anytime we want, if we want to check on the various areas. We can also check the condition of our Pokemon, which is a feature we're not going to worry about until a bit later on in the adventure. And then, as our last bit of thing we can do with this, we got Trainer's Eyes. So this gives us information on select trainers that we've encountered all throughout the adventure, and will let us know whenever these various characters want to have a battle with us later on. Yeah, you can rematch select trainers throughout the region in order to be able to fight their stronger teams and get more experience. Definitely quite useful. I'm developing new kinds of Pokeballs, but I haven't made much headway. Oh wow, that's a Pokénav. Came as a result of our president's desire to learn about the feelings of Pokemon. Would you like me to describe its features in detail? No, I think you'll find out just by trying the Pokénav out. We're developing a device for talking with Pokemon, but we haven't had much success. Maybe one day. I'm trying to develop a device that visually reproduces the dreams of Pokemon, but it's not going well. Really, I know a certain scientist in the Unova region who might be able to help with that. I've been trying to develop a device that resurrects Pokemon from fossils, and it's working! Oh, really? Might want to remember that for later. So by helping the guys out at Devon, we now have full access to their facilities there, and managed to acquire the Pokénav. Quite the useful tool for us to use in our journey. And we have been given some new quests that we gotta take care of. So the Devon goods we need to deliver to a place called Slateport City, and we also have a letter to deliver to someone named Steven who is visiting Duford. So we'll definitely want to remember that for what's to come. So how about, I do want to try and stock up on items again, so let's look at what we have here. I actually think we're pretty good for the time being. We'll, like, grab 3 more potions, and then we'll leave. And I'm pretty sure our Pokeball supplies are quite good. Though, considering where we're going to be going pretty soon, yeah, we'll buy like 2 more Pokeballs, just so that we have an even 10. So we are going to have some nice opportunities for catching Pokemon pretty soon that'd be very beneficial to us. If we go down here, we can see May's actually here.
Oh, hi, Hayden. How's your Pokedex coming along? Mine's looking pretty decent. I got Pokemon in Petalburg Woods until I ran out of Pokeballs.
So if you're playing Pokemon Emerald, you actually have an opportunity to have a battle with your rival here, which can definitely be quite tricky for you, depending on how your team composition looks. Yeah, May can be deceptively nasty throughout the adventure, but we don't need to worry too much about her for the time being. We can grab that X accuracy after we cut down that tree. So X accuracy will obviously raise the accuracy of your Pokemon, allowing them to land less accurate attacks, such as Cut itself, ironically enough. Definitely can be quite useful to you. So, now that we have access to Cut, we're able to open up a new path here in Petalburg Woods, which will get us access to some nice little things in this area that we weren't able to get in our first visit. So we'll definitely want to explore as much of this place as we can and get all the goodies we can find. So while we're going through here, what's some other stuff we can talk about? So pretty recently I did actually see a Nuzlocke video that somebody posted a while ago, and it was quite the interesting thing they put. They're going through Pokemon Fire Red, and tragically they did end up losing the battle against the champion, but, you know, it was a pretty good run all things considered, despite the huge amount of deaths they suffered. But, you know, it was a fun time. And they did a follow-up video where they were going through Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and that was also pretty good. You can definitely see that they started to improve a bit as a player in that run compared to how they did in Fire Red. Even if they did also end up wiping to the champion in that run. But anyway, I want to take a moment to pause from that discussion to show we got a new item, Miracle Seed. So this item is a beneficial item to have for any Pokemon in our party that have Grass-type attacks, as the Miracle Seed will boost the damage from Grass attacks by, I believe, 10%. So it's definitely very nice to hold. So we're going to see some good use out of that with Liam. Anyway, we got ourselves some more things to deal with as we're making our way through this forest. Back over to where Mr. Briny is. So, what's something else we could mention? So pretty recently, I've actually been going through some of Mario Party 3 pretty recently, since that's obviously available to us on the Nintendo Switch's online service. And it's definitely been pretty nice getting to experience this game after so many years of not being able to play the Mario Party games. There's definitely quite a lot of things I like about 3 compared to how things were in 2. But there's also a few other things that kind of I'm not really too big of a fan of, but for the most part the game is pretty good. And just yesterday, I was playing through one of the boards called Creepy Cavern, and oh man, that was a very interesting game for a number of reasons. For one, I managed to win despite the fact that only 2 stars in total were ever gained throughout the actual board portion, and I had one of those stars taken from me. by another character. So basically, the only way I was able to win the game was due to the bonus stars. But another interesting thing that happened is that game has a unique thing with it where you can land on spaces that trigger an event with a character called Game Guy, where if you land on him, you basically have to wager all of your coins in a very risky minigame. And with a particular minigame I got during that board, it was the minigame where you have to try to roll 7 or at least get higher than Game Guy in order to be able to win. And I somehow actually managed to win the grand prize by landing on 7, allowing me to increase my coin total tenfold. And since I had over 100 coins when I first entered that challenge, I basically maxed out my coin total but got 999 coins. So yeah, that was a pretty quick sweep of just everything that I was able to do. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting game on that particular board. I wish a few things happened differently, but for the most part, I had a good run with it. And it'll be nice to revisit Mario Party 3 a bit later in the future with my friends. Because I definitely know one of my friends is really, really eager to play more Mario Party. So that's like one of the main things we like playing together. Anyway, want to show off here, we picked up a few items inside the forest called tiny mushrooms. So these are items that have no real use outside of selling them at shops. So you can get a tiny little profit by selling those here. And if there's any other items you feel like selling, you might as well take those. But we don't need to worry too much about that for now. As at this point, we're mainly going to want to focus on heading to our next destination. So we're going to be taking this path here back to Route 104. And we're going to talk to Mr. Briny in his shack.
Hold on, lass! Wait up, Pico! You're Hayden! You say, my darling Pico! We owe so much to you! What's that? You want to sail with me? You have a letter bound for Dewford and a package for Slateport, then? Quite the busy life you must lead. But certainly what you're asking is no problem at all. You've come to the right man! We'll set sail for Dewford.
Sure thing.
Dewford, here we come! Anchors away! Pico, we're setting sail, my darling!
Hello, Javier. Welcome to the stream. You missed out our gym battle against Roxanne, but we are finally sailing across the seas with Mr. Briny. I always like this little sequence where you're just riding the boat across the waves. It's very sweet.
Ahoy! We've hit land at Dewford. I suppose you're off to deliver that letter to... who was it now? Steven?
Yeah, if we talk to Mr. Briny again, we can see that he only offers a trip back to Petalburg. We actually have to deliver the letter to Steven before we're able to venture further. So we'll definitely want to watch out for that in a bit. But for now, let's just look around Dewford Town. Wow, you bothered to cross the sea to visit Dewford? Did you maybe come here because you heard about Brawly? He's so cool, everyone idolizes him. Gorge your eyes on this. It's a silk scarf. It's right at the cutting edge of fashion, yeah? Oh, I can see your eyes twinkling. You appreciate my dazzling style. Oh, you're a delight. Here you go. I want you to have it. And we get a silk scarf from this guy. That's pretty much the normal equivalent of a miracle seed. So this thing will increase the damage of normal type attacks. We'll actually give that to Mickey for the time being. That could be pretty nice around here. Dewford Town's a tiny island community. If something gets trendy here, everyone picks up on it right away. So we're actually able to challenge the gym here right away, but we're going to hold off on that until a little bit later. There's a stone cavern at the edge of town. I've heard you can find rare stones there. Could be something we'll want to look into later. Just gonna rest up at the center as This is a new town. It's definitely good to visit these every now and then. Alright, so we've taken care of that. Let's see who else we can talk to around here. Yeah, we could do the gym anytime we want, but we're gonna wait until the next session before we do that. So I want to make sure my team is optimally prepared. There's a lot to be said for living on a small island like this in harmony with a Pokemon and the family. I came from the large port of Slateport City when I married my husband here. Life goes by slowly on this little island, but being surrounded by the beautiful sea, that's happiness too. Yeah, I wouldn't mind retiring on a tiny little tropical island sometime in the future. That'd be nice. This is a renowned fishing spot. Are you getting the itch to fish? I'm getting something. I hear you and I like what you're saying. I'll give you one of my fishing rods. So we're able to obtain an old rod from this fisherman. So the rod opens up new opportunities for us to capture Pokemon in the wild, which is going to be really instrumental to us getting some new teammates. So I'm just going to go into our box here. Going to move you to the top, and we're going to register you so we can use you at any time using the select button, which will be quite nice. I like what's hip, happening, and trendy. I'm always checking it out. Listen, have you heard about this new nun habit? That's right, of course you know. I mean, sheesh, nun habit. It's the hottest thing in cool. Wherever you're from, nun habit's the biggest happening thing, right? Sure. Yeah, absolutely right. Nun habit is the definition of in right now. So we're not going to see what this affects until much, much later on. But do know that this specific NPC is pretty integral to acquiring a very specific Pokemon. Anyway, now that we have the opportunity, let's see if we can actually catch a new teammate here in Dupes Town. So whenever you want to fish, you just go up to a body of water and use your rod, and you have a chance of hooking a wild Pokemon, such as this Magikarp. Alright, what are we gonna do with this thing? Let's just throw a normal Pokeball at it, see what we can do. Wow, you actually managed to avoid getting caught in there. Surprising. Alright, let's go for Cut, as that's the lower damaging move you have. Alright. That should be pretty good. And with that, we were able to capture ourselves Magikarp. I will say this right now, Magikarp is probably the best Pokemon you can catch when doing a Nuzlocke run, for a number of reasons that we'll get into later. Magikarp, the fish Pokemon. Magikarp is virtually useless in battle as it can only splash around. As a result, it's considered to be weak. However, it's actually a very hardy Pokemon that can survive in any body of water, no matter how polluted it is. So definitely quite the interesting catch here. And what are we going to name you? Alright, I got kind of an idea that's a little on the grim side. Speaking of calling you Filet. I don't know. I just thought that'd be funny. Alright, so now that we got that, how about we check out our Magikarp here? Now we got ourselves a new potential teammate. But yeah, as you can clearly tell from its statistics here, it only has one attack. That does nothing. Yeah, quite nasty, but ooh, you have a brave nature. So that increases your attack, and that is going to be really beneficial to you later on. Who knows? We might want to actually train up Filet when we get an opportunity to. Now that we've done that, we can head up to the north of town and move over to Route 106, as there is one other potential encounter we can get in the waters around here. Now, another thing to note about getting encounters with the rod is that the pool of Pokemon you can catch, is actually different depending on whether you're fishing in salt water or fresh water. So definitely check out a variety of areas to see which Pokemon you're able to find. As for us, there's a particular Pokemon we can find in saltwater areas that could be quite nice for us to catch, as it could potentially be a really good party member. But for now, let's just have Mickey take out all these fish.
At this rate, we have a good opportunity to open up a fish market around here. Could be very lucrative for business.
Okay, Mickey is obviously getting some ideas around here. Anyway, we're gonna just keep on fishing and see what we can get. It's actually been a long time since I went fishing myself. I'm pretty sure in my entire lifetime I've only ever caught 5 fish. So back in the day, my brothers and I each got our own fishing rods and tackle boxes as a gift from our father, and we definitely spent a quite number of time just trying to fish over at the lakes or rivers around our town. But yeah, really didn't have too much success overall. But, you know, it's still pretty nice getting a chance to be outdoors, and definitely a nice bonding experience between me and my brothers. But these days, we really don't talk too much, despite the fact that I'm still living with one of my brothers at the moment. Yeah, we're just going to enjoy the tropical vibes around here while we search for a new encounter. Dang, got a level 10 Magikarp here. That would have been quite nice to get. Would have required less levels to grind you up. And we still are not going to see any physical attacks from this thing anytime soon. Yeah, Magikarp need to wait until level 15 before they learn Tackle. And that's pretty much the only damaging move they're going to get for a long time. But yeah, we'll definitely talk a lot more about what Magikarp are able to do later. Wow, we are having just terrible luck getting this thing. So I know that there is another Pokemon we can catch in this area now that we have the old rod. Just have to be patient and we'll find it. I mean, it's a good grinding opportunity for our Pokemon, since they don't have to worry about taking damage from all these fish. What is with this game right now? Just... This is really, really weird. Come on, can we please encounter the Pokemon I want to see here? Yeah, we'll see how long this takes. We are very close to the 2-hour mark on this stream, so hopefully we're able to get the encounters we need before then. there it is! So the other Pokemon we can catch with the rod here in saltwater is Tentacool. So this guy is a water poison type, which is quite the unique typing by this portion of the series. And quite the nice Pokemon you can add to your team. So this thing is a special tank, having really good special defense, and honestly, it's got pretty good stats across the board, being a very fast and pretty good damage dealer. It's actually one of my favorite water-type Pokemon, believe it or not, so I'm really excited to have this thing here. So Tentacool is the jellyfish Pokemon. Tentacool absorbs sunlight and refracts it using water inside its body to convert it into beam energy. This Pokemon shoots beams from its crystal-like eyes. So definitely a very nice encounter here. So you're mentioning this Pokemon having, like, crystals as part of its body, so I'm thinking we could name you Lapis. Ooh, Mickey, you're poisoned. Gotta get you back to the center. Let's get you healed up, buddy. Ah, for once, I'm actually grateful that something is free. Alright, so let's check out the statistics on our new catch here. See what we can expect with you. Nope, don't want to deposit. Alright, so Lapis here is careful. If I remember correctly, I think that's not the best nature for you. I mean, I think that improves your special defense at the cost of lowering special attack. So yeah, that is not really the best for you. I mean, we are eventually going to need a water type for our team, so I'll definitely consider that for later. But for now, we're going to be moving on, because there's still another area I want to try to get to before we're at the end of this session. So, how about we head over this way? Talk to this fellow. What do people do if they need to go to a washroom? What if my rod hook's a big one while I'm in the washroom? I just can't go. Ah, the classic fisherman's dilemma. So this guy's obviously gonna have a lot of water types that we gotta deal with here. Especially ones that are poisonous. So yeah, definitely watch out when your Pokemon get poisoned here, because they can take damage on the field, and Pokemon can faint from being poisoned when they are on the field, so definitely watch out for that. Alright, we'll finish you off with one more attack, so let's go for that to finish you off. Luckily, the Pokemon Center in Dewford Town is pretty close by, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about this. And with that, we finished off Ned. I lost because I'm trying to not go to the washroom. Dude, just let it flow. No one's gonna judge you. I mean, some people might, but, you know, that's on them. Okay. So now, let's swap Mickey out of the front here. And we're actually gonna give... Yeah, we don't need to worry too much about what Mickey's got, so... Let's give Silk Scarf to Carl. And yeah, we'll have Velvet as our lead for the next fight. Over here in Route 106, we can grab Stardust by going and checking this rock. So Stardust is a pretty good item for us to get, as that is a very nice item that we can sell for a lot of money. Definitely quite useful at this portion of the game. With you, sir? Pretty much I'll fish wherever I need to if I want to catch a specific Pokemon. So Yeah, this guy's got himself a Magikarp, so it's more of the same Pokemon we've been encountering before. Shouldn't have too much trouble taking out this guy's team. So I guess something else I can mention now that I've been just gone into another battle here. So pretty recently I've actually been revisiting Mario Kart World, as it's definitely been one of my favorite games that I've gotten to play on the Nintendo Switch 2 recently. And yeah, just been having a very fun time with it. So I'm definitely wondering if we're gonna see some DLC for that game pretty soon later this year. Because I know that we've gotten a lot of support with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe back when that was introduced on the Switch. So I could definitely see Nintendo adding some more content for Mario Kart World. And it's going to be interesting seeing how they handle that. Like, I can imagine them making some new islands to provide new areas for the DLC, giving us some new and familiar courses to play on from previous games. That'll be a fun time to get to see when it happens. So definitely a very big fan of the Mario Kart games, and especially World has been so fun. Like, I love the different trick mechanics you're able to do by grinding on rails and driving your kart along walls. Just such a cool evolution for the series, and really excited to see this game get more support, especially because, yeah, this game desperately needs some new content, and soon. Especially compared to 8 Deluxe, which I still can't believe how much content is in that game with all the different racetracks that are available. It's incredible. Alright, so we are just about done with this session here. However, I do want to venture into this cave here. So this is Granite Cave. And I want to be here because I'm gonna pop a repel right quick, as this area has something we'll want to look into. This guy's telling us that we can find Steven in this cave, and he also gets an HM to us for Flash. So that's a move we're not going to be used for a while, but we'll definitely wait for that a bit later. We can get an escape rope over here. So that is an item that enables us to escape from any dungeon we visit by warping us back to the exit. Ooh! What a nice encounter this is down here! So that is an Aron. Considering our options here, I think Liam is our best bet for dealing with this thing here. So yeah, Aron. This is a rock steel type Pokemon, and one that I actually used back when I did my live streams of Emerald back in the day. This Pokemon is real good. Rock and Steel gives it so many resistances. It is really good in battle. Though it is a Pokemon that's going to take a long time for it to grow. But it's still a phenomenal Pokemon if you're able to get this thing. And especially if you're playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, as that would eventually get you access to a Mega Evolution specifically for this Pokemon. But yeah, I definitely want this thing here. There we go. Aw, man, I am so happy we got this Pokemon. So Aron, the Iron Armor Pokemon. Aron is a body of steel. With one all-out charge, this Pokemon can demolish even a heavy dump truck. The destroyed dump truck then becomes a handy meal for the Pokemon. So yeah, the lore with this Pokemon is that Aron actually eats metal. So it's often considered a pest because it would just eat a bunch of metal stuff that humans rely on. But yeah, this is definitely a handy Pokemon to add into our team. And what are we gonna call you? Also got a lady here. Alright, I got an idea for what we can name you. Wanna call you Titania, as you are a Pokemon whose body is comprised of metal. Yep, I saw your comment there, Javier. Yes, that is definitely a nice surprise here. So this cave actually has a lot of very cool encounters we can make in this area. We'll eventually get to see a good portion of them, but for now, I'm really happy to get Auron. This Pokemon has been a very beneficial member of my teams in the past, and yeah, I can definitely see it getting some good use in our team going forward. Depending on what your nature's gonna be. So you are Quiet. That lowers speed in exchange for special attack. Not exactly a good one, but you're still a really good Pokemon. Though sadly your ability is Sturdy. I would have preferred Rockhead, as that could be really useful later on. But you know, this is still a good Pokemon, and I definitely got some opportunities to train up my team in the future. So yeah, we're definitely going to have a lot of work ahead of us with strengthening our party. With that said, I think we are done here for today. We managed to get our first gym badge, we managed to make our way to Dewford Town, and we pretty much got all the encounters I want to get before we take on the gym leader. So I'm going to be taking some time to train up some of our recruits, at least the ones I feel would be the most instrumental to our team. And then we'll be back here later on in order to take on the Dewford Town Gym. So until next time, have a good day and take care.